Hi, everyone. I am checking in with you today. I seem to always say checking in because I do feel like I'm checking in. And I noticed something last night when I went to sleep. I had a lot of, anxiety. Some fear was up, just kind of this kind of blanket of darkness when I was going to sleep. And it took me quite a long time to work with that last night. I had to get up and shift my meditation and do a lot of focus and a lot of heart-centered chakra work and getting grounded. And usually for me, when I'm an empath, so I feel the feelings of those around me, and there aren't a lot of people right around me where I am, but I also feel it collectively. So it lets me know that perhaps this is going on for others in the world and lots of you. So it has compelled me to put this video together today to lend a hand and help through whatever this stage is that we're going through. And there's a lot of stages that we're going through. You can call it Ascension, you can call it hell on earth. Everybody has kind of a philosophy about what's going on right now. But the gist of the way through this is to stay out of fear and to stay in a heart-centered place of connection and love. That's the only way through anything. And what this does is it helps us have a stronger sense of community, which is something that we've gotten far, far away from. And, being kind of separated from each other, we're doing community in a new way, a lot through the internet. So it's a shift. And for a lot of us, we need to feel each other's presence, and that's not completely happening right now. And so connection, and being in that heart-centered space. And this is going to be a little of my woo-woo side, but that's part of who I am and what I believe in. And so for me, meditating with my heart space and really getting into this area and focusing on expanding that, getting in touch with it first of all, and getting in touch with it through gratitude and looking at what you can be grateful for, and what things make you feel good, and who has been a positive influence in your life, and things that you love, and just staying focused with the stuff that brings your heart space joy. And it can be a little tough to find it right now. And so if you're doing a lot of media, I suggest check out for media for a while. You'll ultimately find out what you need to know at some point. But if you're having trouble with your mindset, if you're feeling doom and gloom, if you're getting depressed, if you're feeling disconnected, if you feel like you're angry and fighting with people on social media, or just being irritated by what you're seeing, take a break. Take a 7-day break, seriously, and give your body and your nervous system a chance to recover and get strong again, and focus on things that nurture you. So again, the body temple: eat clean food, support your body. There's no one right diet. So if you're vegetarian, vegan, paleo, keto, whatever it is, there's no one perfect diet. However, an important element of how we eat is keeping it anti-inflammatory. And that's important for any life moment, with or without what's going on in the world. If we keep our body low in inflammation, then disease stays at bay. So inflammation is a process that can create all kinds of, like a domino effect. So we don't want inflammation. Inflammation can mess with our mental health. It can mess with our physical health. We can have arthritic issues, chronic pain, gut problems, also stemming from stress. So anti-inflammatory, what is that? So I wasn't even going to talk about this today, but I'm going to now. Anti-inflammatory, so low grain, like no flour right now, if you can do it. Flour, there's a lot you can read about gluten and flour and what's in it, and how it doesn't work for our bodies anymore. Again, I know I said don't follow a particular do and don't situation, but some of the studies, many, say that flour just doesn't work for us anymore, the way it's been changed and altered. And so consider some of these suggestions, like go off of flour. For others, dairy is a huge thing, especially non-organic dairy. So, maybe try a week-long process of maybe no gluten and no dairy for a week and see how you feel. Just as an experiment, because ultimately you're your best authority. You know your body, and you can tell when you check in and tune in. You can tell what feeds it in a positive way and what doesn't. I'm kind of a fan of fish and chips. And there's a shack that I can go to and grab some fish and chips through a window. I know fried food and I are not friends. I try to stay away from fried oils because for my body, I have a complete horrible reaction where I end up in bed for 3 hours like I have the flu, chills, the whole bit, and then I wake up, need to drink a ton of water and eat a bunch of fruit. So I call it food whammied. And so I get that from fried, generally certain kinds of oils. Not all of them. I haven't figured out which one yet, but I'm going to figure it out. Also, MSG does the same thing to me. So if it's in anything, it just knocks me flat. So some of us who are not great methylators and that aren't great at detoxing, these things build up and cause problems. And so keeping the diet clean, if you find that you're sensitive to certain foods, really look at what are you putting in, the least processed, and I know you've probably all heard this a million times. So shopping on the outside of the aisle when you get to go to the grocery store, eating whole foods, which means stuff in its natural form as close as possible, organics as much as possible, and tons of water. And putting a pinch of sea salt in your water or some mineral drops, trace minerals, if you feel like you're drinking a ton of water and it's just not hydrating you, you can get trace mineral drops. Again, these are all suggestions. You can try it and see how it fits. But again, working on getting the system as strong as possible. What this does is when your body is stronger, your emotions can be a little stronger. If we're feeling like, crappy, it's really hard to deal with the world outside. And you'd be surprised about what you put in your system. We're at home a lot now. I don't know, cookies and potato chips are sometimes really popular for me. And, I don't feel great after I eat those things. So you'll start to see. Also, I will talk about fake sugars. Yeah, sugar substitutes. Let's try to get rid of those. There are tons of studies that talk about how it destroys your gut microbiome. Your gut microbiome is an immune system for you. It also is where you create neurotransmitters. And that stuff is also a neurotoxin. These are all things that you can do your research on. But, again, try it. Go off of it. That I suggest going off for a couple of weeks. And really anything that you go off of, if you go off of it for about 3 weeks, and then you try it again, you can see how you react to it. So if you have migraines, if you have sleep problems, if you have any type of headaches or like a nervousness, and you take artificial sweeteners, take those out of your diet. If you've got to have sugar, have real sugar. Again, anti-inflammatory diet would mean as little sugar as possible. Try to get it from natural sources. Sugar is something that does cause inflammation in the body. So eating foods with sugars in it, you can look at your labels. There's sugar in almost anything that you buy that's put together as a packaged product. Sugars also include high fructose corn syrup. We want to stay away from things like that because it plays around with our glucose levels and our insulin levels, and we go up and down. And right now we're trying to stay stabilized. So again, some recommendations of eating regularly throughout the day. There's a lot of people talking about the intermittent fasting that is really beneficial for keeping inflammation down, really great for the body. If that works for you, that's awesome. If you have adrenal issues, that may not be the best thing for you. If you have issues with depression and blood sugar, right now may not be the time to do anything that drastic, but eating regularly clean, healthy foods, and for some people, protein's essential. Factoring in protein for those 3 meals. And if you decide to sort of squish your day down into fewer hours of eating and try the intermittent fasting, great. But again, when our blood sugar goes up and down and up and down, our moods can go up and down and up and down. So again, figure out what works for you. Try things on, keep a journal of it even so you can see what is working, what isn't. And don't try too many things at the same time unless you're eliminating stuff like sugars and flours and artificial sweeteners and those kinds of things, even alcohol. These are all things that can sort of diminish and deplete our bodies. Making sure you're getting a multivitamin and mineral supplement because we're not getting enough out of our food right now. And, until we fix our whole other subject, how we grow things and the nutrition that's coming out of the earth into the food we're eating, we are going to have to supplement. So, what else? I'm on food and body and in your temple. Exercising can be difficult, but doing some stretching and a little bit of exercise, 15 minutes a day, something to kind of, and some high intensity periodically, especially if you're dealing with anxiety and especially if you're angry. I'm trying to keep this a little bit clean. If you're angry right now, if you find that posts are irritating you and the news and you're getting particularly scared or angry, do something high intensity. It doesn't have to be for hours. It can be for 5 minutes. High intensity interval training, which is where you do a burst of something for like 30 seconds and then you take a break. Or you can do a burst of something for a minute and then take a 30-second break. But doing bursts of things so you get your heart rate up and you burn off some of the cortisol and kind of help your system, but you don't want to do too much of it that you're burning out your adrenals. So again, if you've got a lot of stress and anxiety and you're chronically exhausted or not sleeping well, we can talk a bit about sleep. Sleep's important, sleep hygiene. So let's see, screen time, getting off your screen 2 hours before bed. Blue blocker glasses. Those are the orange glasses. I forgot to bring them over here to talk about them, but they're old school glasses. They're like a sunglasses. They're orange. They block out the blue light from your electronics because the blue light tells your brain that it's morning. The sun comes up, it's a blue kind of light, wake up. So if we're having this blue light, and LED lights do the same thing. So even wearing these glasses around your house 2 hours before bed, changing your lights out if we can find the old style light bulbs again. Some people even put in red light bulbs around their house to kind of have no blue light around. Consider not using your electronics in bed so that your bed space is only for sleeping. Some people find reading for a few minutes before bed something that is like, sleeping pill. So maybe have a book, an actual physical book, and electronics out of your room, and caffeine no later than 2 o'clock. If it's something that's, explore that. Even try discontinuing caffeine after noon or go caffeine free for a couple of weeks and see how you feel. So these are all different things to help support your body, but we've got to sleep. Sleep is essential. And if you're not getting enough sleep, your body doesn't have a chance to recharge. So we want that. We want that cool room, sleeping in a cooler room if you can. Some people sleep well with a weighted blanket. So if you're having anxiety, a weighted blanket is pretty awesome. You can just get these in different varying weights, and they don't have to be a full bed-size blanket, but you can put it on your body. And sometimes that pressure is really soothing. And if you're having a panic attack or anxiety or just feeling really angsty, a weighted blanket could feel, really supportive. I'm somewhere where they're big into hot water bottles. Forgot all about those for years. Oh my gosh, those are amazing. So warm hot water bottle with a fuzzy sleeve on it. I have a fleece one on mine, and you can just hold it. And I know it's probably not ideal at this time of year, but you can also put cold water in it. If it's hot for you, and you can have that weight on you, or keep it at room temperature, but put the weight on your belly when you're laying or sitting and just see how that feels. So getting some weight on. And gosh, I'm off on a trek that I didn't anticipate going. But the other thing I really want to talk about is mindset. There's so much going on right now with mindset and all this chaos and the things going on. And it's so much right now. It is so much right now. And so it's really easy to look at things and just be in fear and be in sadness and just, oh God, overwhelm. It's so much right now. So step back from it, take on smaller things in your life, like tap into creativity. If you haven't done anything creative in a million years, get an adult coloring book and some really cool pens or pencils and color and just try it on. If you hate it, you don't have to do it again. But there's something about it that just the focus of it, is something to do that has nothing to do with work or family. It's just a moment that you can spend with yourself. Journaling, if you like journaling, just let it rip on the pages. Just say everything and anything you're thinking and feeling, write it down and get it out. And if you need to, burn it so that it's not accessible to somebody else to read. And focus with your friends and family on positive things. Focus on uplifting each other and being supportive. And remember in the days when we did ad libs and played games at home, and if you all have been doing that, that's awesome. Let's bring that back, and doing activities together that are encouraging and positive, and charades and things where we're laughing and having a good time and spending time together when we can. If you're in a bubble by yourself and you're home alone a lot, tap into the creative thing. Is there something you might explore with cooking, for example? Do you want to learn how to make pickles or make your own chocolate sauce, even though I'm saying no sugar, to go on some ice cream? Tapping into creativity with photography. That's a huge one for me. And I keep saying I'm going to put a page together for photography, and I'm going to do it where we can just post our pictures. And it could be a picture of, like, I'm looking at an orchid right now, get a close-up of this orchid if you're not going outside, and just play around with your camera, the up-close focus, the far back focus, taking pictures of things, working with clay, even just getting some clay and playing with it, Play-Doh. Just having something in your hands to do and to work with, figuring out how to connect with people on different levels. So, if you're kind of Zoom burnt out from being on the internet, pick and choose your time, but do the things that are supportive for you. We're doing 1 million classes. I know I am so over online classes right now. And, as I'm about to launch another one of my own. Where can you get the soothing and the nurturing? And who are we listening to online? Are we being uplifted, or are we being scared by these people and by the messages? And so I'm choosing, and I hope you do too, is choose to go to the places that support you and go to the people who are supportive. And it's so easy to get kind of sucked into the, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's so easy. And so my suggestion would be for now, just focus on the idea and the concept that, we're a phoenix at the moment, and we are rising out of the ashes, literally out of the ashes. And that if you can tap into, faith and trust and hope and heart space and high vibration and community, because ultimately it's all going to come back to our community and how we connect to each other and how we support each other, literally how we support each other. Getting to a place where we take care of each other and take care of our neighbors, and we're not, completely self-absorbed. I think part of what's going on now is we are isolated and self-absorbed in many ways, and other absorbed in ways that aren't supportive, if that makes any sense. So, excuse me. So tapping into what would be helpful for someone else, and how to send love to them and be altruistic. These are the things, being of service, that make us feel purposeful and helpful and help others. And so, what is something that you could do today to help another person? How could you be of service? And it's not like grand gestures. It might be a phone call to somebody that is living alone. It might be, my brain just, of course, went a blank. But it could be, sending something to someone, a handwritten letter. Can we do those? Gosh, I love handwritten letters, and I miss them so much. I am mail challenged. I'm not very good at getting the letter into the envelope and then the address on it and then the stamp and get to the mailbox. But Receiving a letter, I just love. So, um, other things, when you were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, pre-10, what did you love to do? And tap into that, go back to that little inner kid, what was interesting and curious, and what were the things that you enjoyed doing at that age, or what drew your attention. And for me, I was tide pools and animals and creatures, and I'm still that, animals and creatures. And right now, luckily, I'm surrounded by a bunch for the next little while. I don't know how much longer, but there's a baby lamb here. She's 5 days old, and we're expecting a bunch more. So I hope I get to stay long enough to help bring those onto the planet. And gosh, little lambs are kind of stinky. I thought they would be white as snow and fluffy and delightful, and they're kind of stinky. They're super cute. But for me, animals, my happy place. And so I am engaging with nature and those kinds of things, standing outside and just feeling rain and watching the sky change. And it's coming back to, smaller, simpler things. So, there's no perfect way to do this and be here right now. But the biggest thing is, and this was where I wanted to start this whole message, which is the judgments that are happening, that I'm seeing online, that I'm experiencing online, that I'm feeling in my own self. These flash judgments about right and wrong, or good and bad, or dark and light, red and blue, all of that. It is driving us apart. And that's the thing that's so sad and scary. To me, that's the scariest part, is watching us over the years. Even I have friends who aren't so close to me anymore because we didn't carry the same affiliation and things. And so we have, political theories and affiliations. We have religious and spiritual. We have dietary. We have lifestyle. And we're all, individuals. And that's the coolest thing, is you get to be you on this planet. However, when we have folks judging each other about being you, we get very separate. Very separate. And separation is not how communities thrive. Separation is not how we thrive. Community is how we thrive. And, back in the day, like way long time ago, and I don't know this from personal experience unless I was there in another lifetime, communities, you had who you had, and you had to rely on each other. You didn't get to move to another place. You were born into a community, into your village, into your tribe, into, a unit of people. And each person, and of course, this is what I've read, I hope it's accurate, but it feels accurate. Each person was honored and taught skills, and each person had the opportunity to develop into who they were. And so there were different roles, of course, but each role supported the whole. And so, if you were raising the children, or cooking the food, or hunting, or fishing, or tending to gardens, or being the medicine person, or being the wise person, or being the child running around figuring out, their own physical limitations of, playing. Everybody had a role, and that role was part of a collective. And the collective is how a community survived, thrived. And regardless of what happened outside, naturally in the world, the community depended on each other, and everybody had a role. And so, we are a huge, massive community. This entire planet is a community. And so I'm going to get a little preachy. If we're judging somebody by something they do or believe, feel, how they look, if we're judging another person, if we're having a reaction, we're going into separation from them. We're putting them out away from the village, the tribe, and they could be at peril. And so do we want to do that to another human? Same thing, when we get into judgment about another, we separate from that other. We could be on the outside of the community and the tribe and be at peril. And so we need each other. we totally need each other. And so my hope by this message, and I can't even believe I'm going to post this, my hope is that you're still listening, and that there's somebody that this touches and says, oh my gosh, today I went into judgment. And I am not judgment free, by the way. I'm not perfect. I am talking about things that I'm going through myself, because we are all in this together. And I know my role here is to kind of help hold hands and help us through this process, whatever this process is. But right now, the separation piece just keeps showing up for me in meditation and what I see. And I think it's the scariest part of this whole thing. And so coming together and letting go of judgment, because judgment comes from a place of fear. It comes from a place of something might get taken away or imposed. And I don't mean, don't take action for things that you believe in if you can take action. And that was another post. But what I'm saying is, catch yourself when you find yourself judging or lashing out at another person because what they have said doesn't jive with what you believe. So for the moment, could you consider that as an alternative? Could you? Could there be some truth to it? Could there be some value in it? Or take a step back and just go, oops, I am going into judgment, which means I'm going into separation. So how do I just detach with love? Let another person be the person they are. You may be completely committed to what you believe about what you believe. And, the 12-step programs talk about attraction rather than promotion. So, if you would like to bring, and that seems to work very well, you don't bash it over someone's head. You attract by the value that it brings to your life, the benefit that you have as a result of doing and believing whatever it is. And that will attract people if that's what is in alignment for them. Again, no right or wrong. So if you find that you're lashing out at somebody or feeling lashed at, the love space, and it's so hippy dippy, I know, but it's so important, because if we can come from a place of love instead of anger or fear, because really ultimately judgment does come from fear, to step back and go, oh, wow, okay, we have differing opinions and beliefs, and it's okay. Like, I don't change my opinion of you as a result. And I see a ton of that. But who would I be to decide against another person? Kind of a big thing. It's a challenge, and my head is spinning now thinking about it, because I've seen so many people say, just stop following me if you don't believe in what I say, and it's getting kind of like us and them, which it has been for a long time. And how do we come back? Maybe I'll just ask the questions, because I don't have the answers. I have some suggestions, and I have some concepts that I keep getting in meditation and from my mentors and my spiritual guides. We're all kind of trying to stay in this love field of trust and love and community. And how do we bring us closer as a community? And so I, maybe post for this. And I keep forgetting to say, post, you can put some things here, and I'm going to check back. I'm not doing this live because I still have a little fear about live videos. But, what do you do to stay out of judgment? Like, what helps you? What helps you? Because it doesn't serve anybody. It's like resentments, that whole idea of having resentment is, drinking poison and hoping the other person's going to die, so it doesn't serve. And so, yeah, I know this is the weirdest, strangest time. I hope it is. I hope it doesn't get any weirder. And just know that, there are a lot of us, myself and a community that I'm a part of, that we are doing our best to spread love and spread light and hold hands of those that are freaking out. One day I might be having a tough day and somebody holds my hand, and then the next day I can hold somebody else's hand, and helping each other through. It doesn't mean being perfectly centered and grounded every single day. I get knocked off course and I have to come back. And I just came through a pretty rough patch where I let sort of fear and anxiety start ruling my mindset and what I'm doing, and it just becomes this domino of ick. So I just connect in, connect up, connect with each other, support each other, be closer to the people around you, connect with me. I would love it. Connect with people that maybe you haven't heard from in a while, like community, and connect on, something positive. We can talk about so many different things, and I'd love if you post below, like what are some things we could talk about instead of news, and weather. What are some things we can talk about? We can tap into our elders, the people are wise people, and say, what was it like for you growing up? What are your best lessons? Things like that. So what do you find that would be helpful? Because I am totally open to suggestions. And let's see, what else? Check back for the photography section, photography for mental health. We're going to get that launched, I think, pretty soon here if I can get focused. So sending you tons and tons and tons of love. Thanks for staying in here with me, and I will see you again, and have a beautiful, beautiful day.